spend that. So we don't really put that as a general budgeted item. I suppose we could, and I think we may have, it might have been interpreted that way when we put the budget together last year, where we had whatever the amount, the total was, you know, we had in the budget, but again, that wasn't generated out of the general fund, that was specifically for the motor fuel tax. So we're not holding any future projects off by passing a resolution to spend this money. We're just would be deducting a base that's there.
There is no projects scheduled or structured. That's what.
Yeah,
purpose of it.
yeah.
That's what.
So this money was not committed to something else.
No.
That's what.
And you always want to leave a strong reserve of MFT funds. You really don't want to ever exhaust that funds. And there is, if you will, a pie that says you can only use that funds for streets, snow plowing, and a few other items. It's hard to predetermine how to cut that pie till the time comes. For example, if we have a real horrendous winter and we are just inundated with snow plowing fees and salting, then we may take a much bigger portion of that money out of MFT than we would have the previous year or even the next year. So you kind of decide what's the best way to cut that pie as the time comes up. That, I don't know if I'm confusing it more or helping with that explanation.
Well, as long as anything that pertains to the streets and the road, as far as engineering fees and everything for projects for the roads, can be taken out of that.
I'm not questioning that the funds are coming from the rental tax. I have no problem with that. Or in this particular project, I would just ask that we try to, as we go through the budget process this year, look ahead. And if there is a project that we can tap this money for, or budget for it, let's include it. Let's try to list those projects out so we plan ahead. In essence, all of your committee might have been aware of this. I didn't know anything about this until it came up in the minutes for this board thing. And I think it's better if we just lay it all out in advance so we know where we're going with our money.
And that's what this.
Well, yeah, because this pavement study is a long-term plan for maintenance of the streets, which we've never had.
Yes, we want to allocate, whatever the results are, $50,000 a year for crack filling, and every 10th year you're going to wind up doing a resurfacing project. Show a cash flow on this thing, but estimate the costs out there, and come up with a plan that
We did something like this last year when you gentlemen got together and prioritized 5 projects that we would like to do for the budget process. And what I'm asking is that all projects that we hope to do, not only for MFT but for public works, we try to lay them out in priority order, and then so we can plan to spend the money. Well, it's going to be spent appropriately, but just so we can know what we're aiming for.
Right.
Greg, I think it would be helpful, since we do have a number of residents here, to explain a little better what this pavement study is all about and what its hope is to accomplish.
Sure.
Please.
Actually,
Mike?
we'll do a street inventory. Basically, we'll go out on all the streets, evaluate the condition of the pavement. There's actually a computer program that we bought that helps us assign based on the average daily traffic and the actual cracks in the road, the life of the pavement. Assigns basically a priority to which pavements are going to need to be resurfaced, which pavements are going to need to be crack filled. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take that information, prioritize it, put cost estimates to it, and basically come up with basically analysis of your MFT funds, how much you should allocate to which roads, at what time, and what maintenance procedures you should do, whether it's crack filling, whether it's microsurfacing the pavement, or when you're going to actually have to go ahead and do the total reconstruction, which would be 20 years out, 25 years out. So basically this will basically allocate projects and a maintenance interval for pavement, and it's a maintenance plan. How often are we going to need to, what maintenance are we going to do on which streets at what intervals, so we can plan accordingly instead of not do anything and then have major reconstruction in 20 years.
Is this asphalt only or asphalt and curbs?
This is just going to be the asphalt. This is just the pavement.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustees Dernoski,
Aye.
Tiffany,
Aye.
Duberstein,
Aye.
Barrett, Daly,
Aye.
and Washington.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, moving on to item 2, an ordinance authorization the borrowing of funds for the purchase of certain real property within the village of Hainesville, $600,000. What does this mean? This means that the village of Hainesville will be purchasing the Boys and Well property. Boys and Well property has been listed on the agenda for a few meetings, I would say at least. I know this has maybe stirred up us having a few more residents at the meeting tonight, and I'm thrilled to have you here. Thank you for coming, and you can also watch the meetings on YouTube, so you can stay up to date on everything. Real estate negotiations, of course, are mainly discussed in executive session, so there is a lot of information that you have not been privy to. However, we have quite a few inquiries because it's been on the agenda. I have also had residents and even some businesses in town just saw that Boys and Well was for sale and point blank asked me if we were looking into purchasing the property. And before we move on to the vote, I just want to say this is very exciting. This is going to be great for many reasons. One, we talk about long-term planning. The site that this building sits on now was vacant land that was purchased and owned by the village for 20 years, Gary? About, or,
This property?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Back in the early, well, probably the late 70s, they bought
Yeah.
this property.
I mean, with the vision that someday a new village hall would be built. And when I first moved to the village and became trustee, there was questions whether that would ever happen, and here we are. And so, looking ahead again with long-term planning, we don't expect certainly any more